Good afternoon, folks. We're sitting here deliberately in front of the White House, symbol of freedom and democracy, to say that we're here to bring Alan home. Bring Alan home. Bring Alan home. Thank you for joining us here today, my friends. My name is Ron Halburn. It's my privilege to serve as the Executive Director of the JCRC of Greater Washington. Welcome, Mr. Mayor. It's my organization's privilege to join with our friends in faith at the Interfaith Conference of Metropolitan Washington and our federation and 20 other Jewish institutions to co-sponsor today's vigil. For us in the Jewish community, Alan is our neighbor. He is our friend. He is our family. He spent decades of his career as a Jewish communal professional and an international development worker. And for those of us who know Alan, the idea that he committed acts of espionage against Cuba would be laughable if the results of this ridiculous notion were not so tragic. For those of us who have been involved in efforts to free Alan since the beginning, and everybody should know that the IFC has been there with us since day one, the facts are simple. He is serving an unjust 15-year sentence. Alan is a pawn and now a victim in a dysfunctional relationship between the United States and Cuba. The situation is simply outrageous, and the heavens scream for justice. And let us be sure our voices will not be silent, and our determination to see Alan return to American soil will only strengthen. For 4 years, we have struggled to secure Alan's release. We have held vigils weekly, organized petitions and congressional letters, established a legal defense fund, and more. We have watched as Alan's valiant wife, Judy, has worked day after day to bring attention to his cause and to get our government to act on his behalf. And we've tried to support her in efforts in every way we know how. And we are here now, across the street from the White House, to say, enough. We are here to ask President Obama to intervene on behalf of our friend and fellow American Alan Gross, to reunite with his family, to bring an end to this injustice. We are asking the president to take personal responsibility for Alan's welfare and to make his freedom a national priority. Mr. President, we are asking you to do what it takes to bring Alan home. Bring Alan home. Bring Alan home. And now it's my pleasure to bring up Reverend Clark Lobenstein, Executive Director of the Interfaith Conference of Metropolitan Washington.
Hi, I'm Clark Lobenstein, the Director for the Interfaith Conference, and I was shocked this morning to see this picture that you were looking at, because I have been a part of the weekly vigils outside of the Cuban embassy that has the picture either on that picture there of the 4 of them or the picture of the 2 of them on the poster. So I did not know this was Alan Gross now. But I'm not surprised, because he has been in prison this is the beginning of his 5th year. And that's why we're gathered here and why we're taking this initiative with Congress and with the President to demand that Alan be brought home. The Interfaith Conference of Metropolitan Washington took action on this years ago, and its executive committee took new action to act today, to participate today as a co-sponsor. And so we want to emphasize the importance of this occasion. And we are here to express our hope from the Interfaith Conference, which brings together the Baha'i, Buddhist, Hindu, Islamic, Jain, Jewish, Latter-day Saints, Protestant, Roman Catholic, Sikh, and Zoroastrian faith communities in this metropolitan area. And Rabbi Batya Steinlauf is our president and a member of the Jewish Community Relations Council staff. We are here to express our hope that Alan Gross will be released and demand that he be released from Cuba today, very, very soon. And that we're here to ask for his immediate release so he can return to his family and to the United States and begin the healing process that it will take after 5 years of coming back to this country and of being reunited with his family. So we are very glad to be here. Alan Gross was given a trial in Cuba, held for 14 months in a Cuban high-security prison without charges, and said recently he did not see daylight for a year and a half. He did not see daylight. Unbelievable. For a year and a half. No wonder he shrunk from his size, whatever he was in that picture at the Western Wall, to this size here. So the opportunity for us to be together, to join with us, to speak to the gentleman who lives in that house over there is very important, because we want Alan home today, tomorrow. We want it to become a national priority, as Ron has said, for the president and for the Jewish community. He is our neighbor and our friend, and we stand with him in this hour of need. Thank you very much.
And now we're going to go a little out of order, as I expected. And I'm here to welcome a great friend of the Jewish community, somebody who I had the pleasure of spending 48 hours in Israel with, Congressman John Delaney.
Thank you, Ron. Alan is one of us. And the point that we have to remind ourselves of is he could be any of us, which is why it's so important that we stand here and say, bring Alan home. Bring Alan home. He's an American. He's an American, and we cannot rest while an American is held in an unjust manner, detained for doing nothing wrong in a foreign country. As an American, we can't rest. He's a member of our Montgomery County family. He's a member of our Jewish community and that larger family. And in that regard, he's a member of my family. And I care deeply about bringing him home. We're here to send a message to Cuba that we as Americans will not stand for this. We will not stand for this. And we're here to send a message to our government that we have to redouble our efforts. People ask me, are we doing enough? Alan's not home, so we're not doing enough. That's my definition of doing enough. We have to bring him home. One day of this would be a terrible injustice. 4 to 5 years of this is a tragedy. Sometimes one man's plight is representative, or is a representation of our fight for freedom, our fight for religious freedom, and our fight for liberty. And not only because we know Alan, not only because we know and love Judy, not only because he's part of our community, we have to, as Americans, for what this stands for, make sure we bring Alan home. May God bless him, and may God help get him home. Thank you very much.
And now it's my pleasure to welcome Rabbi Arnold Saltzman, Cantor Emeritus of Adas Israel, to join us in a prayer.
In our daily prayers, we say, we praise you, God, who redeems the captive. We pray together for the safety and well-being of Alan Gross and his family, who have suffered for these many years. We are gathered here to protest the continued incarceration and imprisonment of Alan Gross. We are taught there is no mitzvah as great as the redemption of captives. Each instant that one fails to redeem captives when it is possible to do so, it is as though one has shed blood. Alan Gross is one man, one citizen, and he is every citizen. Our government has to protect its citizens, even in foreign countries. We can use our might and influence around the globe. Nevertheless, how can we explain that this American has been held in Cuba now for these many years? Are we powerless? I doubt that. The UN Committee on Illegal Detentions ruled that Alan Gross is being held against the rules of international law. Our government has issued several protests, many protests. The family of Alan Gross has an empty chair. Each day is difficult. Alan Gross harmed no one by his actions, nor would he. As we celebrate Hanukkah, we pray for Alan to be the shamash for our community, the candle which we will light this evening, which brightens all of our lives. We ask for a new light, the light represented by the release of Alan Gross, a Jewish man who we will not forget or let go of, an American and a humanitarian, helping Cubans, helping people around the globe. The United States must secure his release. We are not powerless. We should do whatever is necessary to secure his safe return, and then we will be able to fully celebrate the festivals of life and of freedom. Al-Hanisim. Bring Alan home now, together. Bring Alan home now. Bring Alan home now. Bring Alan home now.
Now it's my pleasure to welcome up the mayor of the great capital of the United States of America, Mayor Vincent Gray.
Thank you, Smith. A little challenge there, huh? Good afternoon. It's been 4 long years since Alan Gross was taken from his hotel room in Havana, and his friends, his family, his wife Judy, and so many others continue to pray for and hope for his release. We're here today to ensure Alan knows that he remains on our minds and in our hearts, and that he will continue to be in those places until he is back here at home. Bring Alan home. Bring Alan home. Bring Alan home now.
Bring home. Bring Alan home.
Now. We ask that the President and the Congress pursue every reasonable avenue to secure his release, and that it is done with Alan's safety in mind. Alan traveled to Cuba 4 years ago with a noble purpose to help Cuba's small Jewish community connect with his brothers and sisters across the globe. He was fulfilling the duties his government asked of him, with the hope that those less free could at least communicate with those who were more fortunate at the time. During my time as mayor of the District of Columbia, I've committed myself to reducing barriers and making the sometimes disparate communities of our nation's capital come together as one city with a common purpose and a common aspiration. And our one city stands by Alan and appreciates his efforts to reduce barriers and bring people closer together. I will repeat now what so many have said before me. President Castro, please release Alan Gross on humanitarian grounds so he can be reunited with his family once again. Bring Alan home. Bring Alan home.
Now.
Bring Alan home.
Now. Now.
And to our leaders here at home, please refocus your attention on securing the release of this American worker for peace and justice. Thank you very much, and bring Alan home now.
And in a few hours, we'll see the mayor again as we celebrate Hanukkah with him at the Wilson Building and light a candle, one in representation of Alan's freedom. Now it's my pleasure to welcome Cantor Lisa Levine and Rabbi Sonny Schnitzer up to lead us in song.
This is a song for Hanukkah, a protest song called Light One Candle, so please join in singing with us. Light one candle for the Maccabee children, give thanks that their light didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. And light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years, so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. Light one candle for those who are suffering the pain we learned so long ago. We have come this far, always believing that justice will somehow prevail. This is the burden, and this is the promise, and this is why we will not fail. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years, so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years, so many years. Don't let the light go out, and let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, don't let the light go out, don't let the light go out. Bring Alan home now.
And now, we'd like to welcome Judy Gross, the wife of Alan, to bring some personal words. Judy. That was better than me. There you go.
First, I would like to say thank you to everybody who is here today. It warms my heart to see so many friends and so many coworkers and people that I know from so many organizations. Thank you to all the officials that were here today to speak on Alan's behalf. And we are going to get this done. We are going to bring Alan home.
Now.
I stand in front of the White House today to make sure that everyone, including President Obama, hears Alan's voice. Mr. President, if you're not familiar with who Alan is, let me say a few words about him. Above all, he is a humanitarian. His work has taken him to over 50 countries, mostly emerging world markets, where he has improved the lives of countless families living in poverty. Alan strongly believes in his country and in his government. He loves the USA. So, when the United States offered him an opportunity to go to Cuba to perform the type of work that he has done in so many other countries, he did not hesitate. He trusted our government, who sent him there. He assumed that the government would not knowingly put him in harm's way. He believed that if there was a problem, his government would be there to help. Was he trusting? Yes. Was he naive? In hindsight, yes. Alan went to Cuba on behalf of our government, and it is up to our government to secure his release. So, for the last 4 years, Alan has been fading away in a tiny prison cell in Havana, Cuba. He is in a cell 23 hours a day. He is in chronic pain, has lost 100 pounds. But by far the worst is that he's losing his spirit. He tries so hard to hold on to hope, but it is fading fast. I don't know how he does it, and I don't know how much he can go on. Imagine the emotions he felt when he couldn't be with our daughter through her cancer surgery, or to comfort her during her chemotherapy. Imagine how he felt when he received the news that his 91-year-old mother is suffering with lung cancer. Imagine how he felt on his birthday, May 2nd, when our younger daughter was so distraught that she lost control of her car and ended up in the trauma unit. Imagine how he felt just a few short months ago when he couldn't walk his daughter down the aisle. President Obama, imagine if this was one of your loved ones. I read today that the State Department has stated, "We reiterate our call on the Cuban government to release Alan Gross immediately and unconditionally." This is the same policy that our government has taken for the past 4 years. There are some in Congress who say the same thing, unconditionally. Mr. President, this will be a death sentence for Alan. For the past 4 years, I have met with numerous senators and representatives. I am so grateful to their assistance and their support. Some have visited Alan. Many have written letters, both on Alan's behalf, both to the government of Cuba and to President Obama. I have met with many officials of the administration. All of them are sympathetic, and many seem frustrated. One thing is clear, however, and that is that we need President Obama. I am requesting that the President, the leader of this great nation, get personally involved, and to do whatever it takes to bring Alan home. Please, Mr. President, don't leave Alan to die in Cuba. Thank you. Through the U.S. intersection in Havana, we received this letter that was written from Alan that he would like read to the crowd here today. So I am going to read you his letter and share with you some of his thoughts. This was just written last week. Today marks my 4th anniversary as a hostage in Cuba. Although it is not an occasion to celebrate, I am truly grateful for all of the support from my family, especially my wife, Judy, my friends, extraordinary legal team, the Jewish community, as well as numerous social action organizations and religious institutions. Their efforts, their good wishes and prayers help to sustain me through this ordeal. And of course, thank you all for coming here today. Thank you for standing up to demonstrate and give voice to your concern about an American who is being unjustly held in Cuba. Thank you for standing across the street from the White House to ask President Obama to get personally involved to end this travesty. I was in Cuba in 2009 implementing a new media project under the auspices of the U.S. government. I was taken into custody by Cuban security agents late in the evening and was driven to several secured facilities throughout the night. I was later confined to a small cell the following morning, where I have remained in isolation for the past 4 years. Without Spanish skills to communicate with Special Forces guards and a rotating series of 2 cellmates, I am very much alone. Held without charge for 14 months, during which most contact with my family was not allowed. I had no access to news, music, reading and writing materials, television, and the like. Apart from 1 or 2 10-minute outdoor reprieves per week, I was restricted to my cell 24 hours a day. Today, this restriction is 23 hours a day, as I am given 60 minutes daily in a small confined space with high concrete walls and limited sun exposure. After a 2-day trial during my 2nd year of captivity, I was found guilty of being a threat to the security and the integrity of Cuba and sentenced to 15 years in maximum security. My treatment is stressfully demeaning. My environment is oppressive. Living in squalid conditions, I lost 110 pounds, and I do have health issues. However, the worst is not my physical deterioration. My heart is broken from acute homesickness, loneliness, and disappointment from my government. I am completely frustrated over my inability to support and protect my family from the ominous challenges they had to face without me over these past 4 years. My wife of 43 years is without her husband and my best friend. My daughters are without their father. My sister is without her brother. My not-so-young mother is without her son. I have lost my mother-in-law, and my wife's siblings are in dire health straits. Judy should not be alone, especially at this time. Except for a light that remains on in my cell 24/7, I remain in the dark. It is clear that the President and his administration are busy with other serious and domestic world crises. I am sensitive to intensive demands on their time and realize that their work is all-consuming. But it's been 4 years since I was imprisoned for acting in the service of my country. I am waiting here in real time, in my cell, 23 hours a day, unable to help my family or to participate in their lives. There have been many times when I have begun to despair, but I am fighting not to give in to that emotion. I am only one man, but I am a citizen of the greatest country on earth, a country I was serving in my work in Cuba. And I must believe, I do believe, that my country will not leave me behind. There are countless Americans all over the world, some serving in uniform, others serving in diplomatic or civilian capacities, still other private citizens studying or traveling abroad. And they must not harbor any doubt that if they are taken captive in a foreign land, our government will move heaven and earth to sustain their freedom. It will be a tragedy if my continuing imprisonment causes even one of them, particularly those serving in our country overseas, to question this fundamental point. I have thought long and hard about what it will take to bring me home. Only the President of the United States has the power to accomplish this. On behalf of my family and myself, on behalf of every American who might ever find himself or herself in trouble abroad, I ask President Obama to direct his administration to take meaningful, decisive steps to secure my release immediately. Mr. President, please assure my family and me that you will do whatever it is necessary to get me out of this hell. I am fired up and ready to go home. Please do whatever is necessary to keep that fire from being extinguished. And anyone listening to my words, please make certain that President Obama recognizes the need to take decisive and appropriate action to save my life and my family's future, understanding that this situation is not only always about me. Despite my disappointment, I still have faith in the President and the American people. I am very appreciative of the personal kindness, consideration, and patience extended to me by the U.S. Interest Section in Havana. Thank goodness for the leadership, hope-instilling work, and information provided by my legal team, and for the efforts of some insightful and much appreciated members of Congress and their Capitol Hill staff, who exemplify forward-thinking and decisive leadership. I am very, very grateful to all of you who are on Lafayette Park here today. I wish you a belated happy Thanksgiving and a happy Hanukkah. Alan Gross.
Bring Alan home. Bring Alan home. Bring Alan home. Bring Alan home. And now it's my pleasure to welcome up a great friend of our Jewish community, Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett.
I am an unwavering, let me repeat that, unwavering supporter of President Obama. But I say, as a strong supporter, one who believes in our president, that it's time now for your personal commitment and action to bring Alan home now. Cuba is only 90 miles away from the U.S. coast. But for Alan, it might as well be on Mars. This is unacceptable. I know that there is a great debate in our country on a variety of important issues, whether it's immigration reform, health care reform, nuclear proliferation, many other very important issues that our community and our nation have been consumed with for the last few months and years. But our country, in terms of our founders, is defined by several things. Our American humanity is defined by what we do for the most vulnerable here. This is a vulnerable situation. You heard, this is not just a 15-year sentence. This is a life sentence. A life sentence which means that we may see him come back unless the president and others act, but would not be a life for which he has lived through. Listen to what his wife said. When you heard her pleas, when you heard what he has missed, and you heard this very, very clear, unequivocal woman say to us that it's time to bring him home. Let's act, Mr. President. Let's have the courage to move forward and do what's right. We need to bring him home, and we need to do it now. Thank you.
Now it's my pleasure to bring up Rabbi Shmuel Hertzfeld.
Thank you, Ron. I have three messages today. First, our first message is to Alan and to Judy. Say it with me. Alan Gross, we are with you. Alan Gross, we are with you. We are with you. Judy Gross, we are with you.
We are with you.
When we hear the cries from Alan and Judy, our first message has to be to Alan and Judy that you are not alone. We are with you. And my second message is to President Obama. 70 years ago, my father, as a little boy, traveled on a boat, and the United States, the White House, they wouldn't let him into this country. Cuba took him in. The United States then was on the wrong side of history. But now we're asking the President of the United States, President Obama, take it personally. Get involved. Listen to the cries of Alan. Listen to the cries of Judy. Listen to the cries of the Jewish community. Listen to the cries of Americans. Alan Gross is out there. He's on a boat. Do not leave him on a boat. Do not leave him in the dungeons of Cuba. President Obama, bring Alan home. President Obama, bring Alan home. President Obama, bring Alan home. And my third message is for the Cuban people. 7 years ago, I went to that country where my father was taken in as a refuge, running away from the Nazis. And I sounded a shofar for the people in the synagogues in Cuba. And at that time, I was thinking of the symbolism of the shofar. And when we blast the shofar in the Bible, we say, let there be freedom in the land. The people of Cuba will never be free as long as a man is unjustly held in the dungeons of Cuba. Let there be freedom in the land. Say it with with me. Let there be freedom in the land. Bring Alan home. Bring Alan home. And Alan and Judy, we are with you. We are with you.
And now I'd like to welcome Cantor Lisa Levine and Rabbi Sonny Schnitzer for one last song.
Also a great Hanukkah song about freedom, not by might, not by power, but by spirit alone. Not by might and not by power, but by spirit alone. Ruach shall we all live in peace. Not by might and not by power, but by spirit alone. Ruach shall we all live in peace. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. The children sing, the children dream, and their tears may fall, but we'll hear them call, and another song will rise for freedom. Another song will rise. Another song will rise. Let's sing it together. Not by might and not by power, but by spirit alone. Ruach shall we all live in peace. Not by might and not by power, but by spirit alone. Ruach shall we all live in peace. Not by might, not by power. Bring Alan home.
Friends, as we get ready to depart, I wanted to just remind you that every Monday for the last 4 years, we have kept a vigil, Monday at 12 noon in front of the Cuban intersection. And those vigils under the leadership of Rabbi Arnold Saltzman. Thank Arnold publicly for all the amazing work he's done to keep this vigil going for the last 4 years. A true hero in this struggle. Arnold, raise your hand, please. But please join and sign up. So as we conclude, let us just say that you understand today all the people we are representing. You know we're standing here deliberately again in front of the White House. You hear the words of our elected people. You hear the cries of Judy and from the members of our community. Bring Alan home. President Obama, bring Alan home. We will not forget, and we will continue our struggle until Alan comes back to his family on American soil, and it can't be 1 minute too soon. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate you being here today, and together we will greet Alan in person and make his imprisonment nothing but a memory. Happy Hanukkah to all.